Go.
Good morning. I'm Emily. I'm one of their sisters. There's 4 of us girls, so I am home visiting from Tennessee, and so I thought I would join Libby and Mandy this morning to talk about a conversation we had the other day when we were on a walk. So I'll just jump right in, I guess. We were kind of like not in the best of moods the other day. We were kind of like a little bit down and frustrated with this whole scenario and feeling like we're losing a little bit of hope and like, when is this going to end? And so we were just outside walking, trying to kill that time. And we were like, how can we shift our focus to be a little bit more positive? And so we started asking each other some questions, and some of the questions that we came up with were, 1, like, what are you most looking forward to doing when this is over? And 2, like, what have you learned through this process that you're hoping to come out and, I guess,
Be a better person
at the end of this. So, Liv and Amanda, I don't know which one is going to answer that question first.
Go ahead. Let go.
Clearly, we have a great dynamic here.
And I thought you start us off.
This is a classic in our family, though.
Okay. Okay.
Go.
I'm going.
We lost all the followers.
Bear with me. So I think for me personally, this time has been like obviously a big time to just like reflect, because you're stripped of a lot of things that you normally are used to doing, or like being a part of, or hanging out with people. And like I've realized kind of more and more why I do the things I do, and that can be like a good thing or a bad thing. But I guess I realized that in the past, a lot of the reasons why I did things was just to please people, to keep up with, maybe a certain image I have, to, I don't know, look a certain way. And I guess I like relate it back to, in a sense, like religion versus relationship, and like how I was just following sometimes this like scheme of like this formula, like you do this, you do this, you do this, you get this. But like relationships with people and relationships with the Lord do not look like first step you do this. Like that is just like such a like systematic, like man-made, like manufactured thing. And I found that like I can meet God in the places of things that I enjoy doing, like going hiking and painting and like playing music in my room. And that's how my relationship with Him develops. It's not because I did this one step and then this other step, and like in a way it's been like so nice being like pulled away from everything, and realizing that relationships are not like a formula, and it's kind of like shown my heart and like why I choose to do things, if that makes sense, which has been kind of refreshing in a way. But I don't know.
It kind of sounds like you're saying that like this time of rest has like caused you to like reflect more, and like I don't know, I think it's funny because last night I was listening to like a sermon about Mary and Martha in the Bible, and how like Martha was super busy and just like wanting to do all these things to like please Jesus, but like Jesus was like, no, like be like Mary, like be still and like sit at my feet and like listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like in those moments of her like worshiping or like painting, or like those are moments of like being still, or like you can take things away from.
I guess I've realized that like I think it's really funny that we have like placed God in a box and saying like He can only operate within these means of like a 30-minute worship session and a sermon and a small group or something like that. And it's like He's so much bigger than that.
Right.
And like
I mean, He could reach you in the weirdest of places, like watching a random movie like on Netflix, or like listening to a song that's not quote Christian, or I think and obviously he uses each one of us to like speak to one another, I think, too. So
yeah. So I think that's kind of my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. Well, to kind of tag along that of just being still, I feel like my personality, and probably out of all of us siblings in the family, I'm the one that likes to be the busiest and go, go, go. It might be a close tie between us two, but I've just realized in this time that it's okay to slow down, and it's healthy too, and I've just really been craving to read scripture more too. It's not, I feel like we put it as a duty, like we know it's good to read the scripture, and I kind of had a mindset of that for a while. Not all the time, but I'm like, okay, I know it's a good thing to do. Let me read my Bible. But recently I've just been like craving it. Like, I want to know you more, Jesus. Like, I want to know you. I want to learn more about myself, and like this is the way to like learn more about you, is reading your word. And so that's what a lot of this quarantine's looked like, is just craving more of an intimate relationship with the Lord, because I realized sometimes in my busyness I would just give him like 25 minutes in my day at night, or 25 minutes in the morning, and so that's been really refreshing. And also going into like relationships and stuff like that, I feel like in my friendships I sometimes don't have the healthiest of boundaries when it comes to friends, and so I've realized in this time, like, I kind of have a hard time saying no to people, and that it's okay to like say no, and it's okay to have those healthy boundaries, and to like not wear myself out to the point where I'm just annoyed with the person, if that makes sense, because I'm constantly doing things for them. And
I think you kind of told me like you were kind of tired of being like, you were okay with stepping away instead of being like used, or like felt like the other person was just trying to take advantage of you in the sense of like, I need this and I need that, and it's like great to be there for someone, but when that person can't reciprocate that in any
and I
capacity.
still love those people. It's just like I realized that I've always had a hard time just like stepping aside and being like, okay, this is what's best for me right now. And so in this time, I've realized a lot of my busyness was doing things like that as well, like good things that just became unhealthy. So I also heard something the other day when I was listening to a podcast that I've like held on to. And I feel like with our family, sometimes we all are pretty opinionated people sometimes. But I heard this in a podcast, and it was like, don't be so right that you're wrong with people. And I'm like, oh, that's really good. Like, my being right in order, like me wanting to be right and say the right thing to win the argument or win the debate, is actually like causing a wedge between the people I love. And I feel like sometimes it's just play around in our family and we're debating stupid stuff, but like actually I want to love them. And if that's me just like surrendering my pride and like, you know, that's worth it. And just, you know, it's a working thing in our family. But that's kind of what I've learned. But what about you?
Where do you begin? You know, you feel like you learn like little things, hopefully here and there, like every day. I think I learned a lot about myself in this time because, you know, primarily I've been by myself through this whole scenario. And so it's kind of one of those, except now I'm back. But I don't know, you realize that maybe like you get so wrapped up into like the busyness of life, like Amanda was saying, like things that are good. Like, I'm a teacher and I love my job, but I think sometimes I put my identity like in my work and like what I can do for other people or for like my students and that kind of thing, that you kind of lose sight of like who you are and like what your purpose might be, or like taking the time to like rest and be still like at Jesus' feet. And so like, I don't know, I think I'm learning that like, I don't know, I'm a huge worrier, or I used to be. I'm working on it. I get anxious about a lot of different things, but I don't know, I think during this time it's like made me reevaluate like what's important. And like we were talking the whole question of like, what are you most looking forward to when this is over? And it's like I hate the word intentional because I feel like it gets overused a lot, but like really at the end of the day, like pouring into people and like being concerned with relationships and like checking in with people and like being authentic in relationships with like people I work with, or like all parts of your life, and not putting those moments off. Like if you're feeling in that moment that you should ask that person to coffee or like send them a text or give them a call, like do it. Like what at the end of the day, like I don't know, stuff like that. I don't know if any of that made sense, but
I think like coming back to kind of like what I had said too, in that sense of like all these churches and stuff are shut down, and it's like I can listen to a good sermon live streamed anywhere right now, but what I'm missing is the relationships with people, and that's what's like important at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's just like, not getting annoyed with like little things, if that makes sense. Like maybe I think they talked the other day about like expectations, like you had an expectation for someone, or like, oh, I was hoping that they would do this, and then you kind of just like let it build resentment or bitterness in you, and it's like, no, like Jesus wouldn't do that. He would just be like, move on with it and like love them anyway and still want to spend time with them. So I don't know, I just hope that at the end of this, I'm learning to be more okay with being alone. I think a lot of us feel more insecure or like vulnerable when we have to face like ourselves alone with no one else, like who are we really at the core and that kind of thing. And so I don't know, just
that's good.
Learn about myself, and hopefully being, I don't know, more intentional with people that are in my life and that kind of thing.
That's good. Also, if you want to reach out and tell us what you are learning in this quarantine time, or what you want to take away after this, and what's been, something you've been holding on to or learning during this time, we would love to hear that. But does anybody else have anything else to share?
Not really.
Yeah, I think we had it all, but thanks you.
Thanks you.
Thanks everybody for joining in with our roll out of bed coffee chats. Special
no coffee today, but
special
I already
edition.
drank it.
This is our sister Emily. If you didn't hear, before, she's back from Nashville. She's completely healthy. Don't worry. But
at least with me.
we'll be back tomorrow or Liv. Oh my gosh. We'll be back sometime this week when it's okay with Olivia.
No, she just pretended like she was coughing. That's why I went like.
Okay.
Lovely dynamic we've got going here. So.
Welcome to the fam. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Liv.
Liv.